You're sitting in a meeting. Nothing is wrong. No one is angry. No one is in danger. And yet, somewhere in your chest, there's a tightness you can't explain. Your heart is moving a little faster than it should. Your jaw is slightly clenched. You keep glancing at the door. Nothing is wrong. So why does your body think something is? The answer goes back further than you can imagine. It goes back before cities, before language, before fire was something you controlled. It goes back to a version of you that had no walls, no roof, no lock on any door. A version of you that lived or died based on how fast it could detect a threat. That version never left. Your brain is ancient. The part of it that monitors danger, the amygdala, is one of the oldest structures in the vertebrate nervous system. It was doing its job in the ancestors of reptiles before mammals existed. And it has had hundreds of millions of years to become very, very good at one thing: keeping you alive when something wants to kill you. The problem is that nothing wants to kill you right now. But your amygdala doesn't know that. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping the fear circuitry of a human brain. What he found was remarkable. The amygdala processes threatening information before the conscious brain has even registered what it's looking at. Before you have a thought, your body is already responding. Your pupils dilate. Blood shifts away from digestion toward your muscles. Your senses sharpen. All of this happens in milliseconds, long before the rational part of your brain shows up to say, "That's just a code on a chair, not a person in the dark." Ledoux called this the low road, a fast, automatic, imprecise signal. It is wrong constantly, but it only needs to be right once to save your life. For most of human history, that trade-off made perfect sense. Imagine your ancestor on the African savanna 200,000 years ago. She's walking through tall grass at dusk. She hears a sound, a rustle. Maybe it is the wind. Maybe it is a lion. She has about half a second to decide. If she assumes wind and she is wrong, she dies. If she assumes lion and she is wrong, she wastes a little energy running. The cost of false alarms is low. The cost of missing a real threat is everything. Evolution is not interested in comfort. It is interested in survival. And survival, for most of your species' history, meant being constantly low-level afraid. Psychologist Paul Gilbert, who pioneered compassion-focused therapy, describes the human threat system as fundamentally mismatched with modern life. Your brain evolved to monitor for predators, social rejection, starvation, and sudden violence. All of those threats had one thing in common. They were physical, immediate, and often lethal. Your nervous system built an alarm system tuned to those frequencies. Now you live in a world where the most common threats are a passive-aggressive email, a traffic jam, a deadline, or a conversation you're dreading. None of these will kill you. But your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a lion and a performance review. It sees threat. It fires. This is why stress feels like stress. Not metaphorically like danger, literally like danger. Your body is running the same survival program it would run if you were being chased. Cortisol floods your system. Your immune system suppresses. Your digestion slows. Your sleep deteriorates. Also, your muscles can be ready to sprint away from something that isn't there. There's a name for this: hypervigilance. And it is not a disorder in the clinical sense. It is your ancient hardware doing exactly what it was designed to do in a world it was never designed for. Researcher Arne Oman at the Karolinska Institute ran a now-famous series of experiments on this. He showed people sequences of images, some neutral, some of snakes and spiders, some of flowers and mushrooms. Then he paired subtle electric shocks with some images. What he found was that people developed conditioned fear responses to snakes and spiders far faster, and those responses were far more resistant to being unlearned than fear responses to flowers. The brain has a dedicated fast track for evolutionarily ancient threats. It does not need to be taught to fear them. It was born ready. Snakes and spiders are not major causes of death in a modern world, but your brain does not know that. It is running software written in an era when they were. Now extend that logic. Social rejection triggers the same brain circuits as physical pain. A study by Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA used fMRI imaging to show that being excluded from a simple computer game activated the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the same region that lights up when you stub your toe. Your brain treats being left out of the group as a survival threat, because for most of human history, it was. Exile from the tribe meant death. Alone on the savannah, you did not last long. So when you obsessively replay a social interaction, when you feel sick before a difficult conversation, when you lie awake at 2 a.m. cataloging everything that could go wrong, your brain is not malfunctioning. It is hunting. It is scanning. It is running ancient threat detection software on a modern landscape, flagging anything that looks like it might cost you your place in the group, your safety, your survival. The system is not broken. It is just running in the wrong century. And here is where it gets stranger. Your brain does not only respond to threats that are present. It responds to threats that might be present. It responds to threats that are imagined. It responds to threats from the past that are no longer relevant and threats in the future that have not happened yet and may never happen. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that can simulate the future, can generate hypothetical threats faster than your amygdala can evaluate whether they are real. You can sit completely still in a room with no danger and terrify yourself with your own thoughts. No other animal on Earth can do that quite the way you can. It is both the cost and the consequence of your extraordinary imagination. Paul MacLean, who developed the triune brain model, described the human brain as 3 systems layered on top of each other across evolutionary time. The reptilian brain, the limbic system, and the neocortex. They do not always agree. In fact, they are frequently in conflict. The rational mind knows you are safe. The ancient emotional brain does not care what the rational mind knows. It is not listening to reason. It never was. This is why you cannot simply think your way out of anxiety. You cannot logic your amygdala into calm. It does not process language. It does not respond to reassurance the way your conscious mind does. It responds to breath, to movement, to sensory input, to the felt sense of safety in the body. Not the idea of safety, the experience of it. And this is what your ancestors knew instinctively, even without the vocabulary for it. They moved. They sang. They sat around fire in groups, bodies touching, voices overlapping. They processed threat through the body, not around it. The nervous system was designed to discharge, not suppress. The animal shakes after a predator encounter. It trembles, releases, returns to baseline. Modern humans hold it in. They sit very still in offices and meeting rooms and lie awake in beds, containing everything. The stress never fully leaves. It accumulates. You carry the weight of a species that was hunted for almost all of its existence. That hypervigilance in your chest, that low hum of unease that follows you into rooms where nothing is wrong. It is not weakness. It is inheritance. It is the echo of every ancestor who survived something terrifying and passed their nervous system down to you. The world changed faster than evolution could follow. So the next time you feel that tightness in a meeting, that unshakable sense that something is coming, that 2 a.m. spiral into every possible version of worst, remember where it comes from. You're not anxious because something is wrong with you. You are anxious because something was right with your ancestors. Because the ones who worried survived. The ones who didn't left no one behind to remember them. You are sitting in a safe room, and your ancient brain is still watching the grass.